Hey, TechKnowStuds. When we do scanning on our network, we're determining if a piece of equipment exists, if it's up and running, if a certain service is up and running on it. But maybe we want more than just a yes or no. Is it on? Is it available? Maybe what we want to know is more detail, like what is the CPU running at? What is the percent that the CPU is running at? What is the RAM? How much RAM is filled up? How much storage do we have left? Maybe some more granular details. So in this case, maybe we do something like polling. Polling just means checking the status of something. And so many times we want to check the status of a piece of equipment. Beyond just whether it's available or not, we want to actually see what is the percent that it's running at or saturation that it's running at. A good example is a lot of our network closets have air conditioning in it. So there's an air conditioning, you can't see it right here, but there's an air conditioning unit over here. So one of the things we would want to monitor is going to be temperature. So I would actually have temperature gauges in the room that would be, I could address electronically, and it would actually be pulled into our PRTG system for monitoring purposes. And they were incorporated into our UPSs. There are a lot of different sensors that we could monitor all of our different equipment. Things that are specific to certain types of databases or certain types of applications. So we can make sure that they're up and running and that they're functioning at the level that we need to have them running at. And so it really gives us a full perspective of what's happening on our network. And if there is an issue, how we can troubleshoot that issue and figure out where's the issue stemming from. Now, a lot of this polling really happens already on the different pieces of a system. So a server will have already, it's keeping track of all sorts of things, and same thing with desktop machines, and same thing with switches, same thing with routers. But the problem now is that if there is an issue, how do we go to each one of these devices and check each one of these devices? Well, that's where monitoring software comes into place. So what we could do is we could set up monitoring software on one of our devices and then make a connection out to all of these other devices. And sometimes it goes and grabs the information and pulls it back. And other times it's just a push and it gets sent to these devices. And so there's different methodologies on how to grab this different information. But essentially we'll have a server on here that's keeping track of all of that allows us to get on there and see what's happening on our network. There are also several different types of protocols that help facilitate this. Because the communication is happening from these devices to some sort of central service here, we need protocols, ways of communicating back and forth. Simple Network Management Protocol, SNMP, is one of those protocols. And when we set this up, we call them traps. We're going to trap certain information and send it along its way. Windows Management Instrumentation, or WMI, is another mechanism that allows for this. For like Linux machines, we can use things like SSH, and a lot of applications have things like APIs that we can plug into to grab this type of information. Now let's say there's a machine that we want to monitor. There are a lot of ways that we can monitor it through some of the protocols that I mentioned before, like WMI, and we could do the scanning, like the ping and those type of things to see if these services are up and running. So there are a lot of different ways we can make sure that the health of the system is without ever installing anything on that system. However, there are some times when we install agents, which gives us a greater level of understanding of what's happening on that machine. And so maybe certain, like a good example of this would be like SQL database software that I've used in the past. And we've installed an agent on there and it gives us much granular information on what's happening.